Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Shruti Mishra and with me are Arundhati Ramanan and Ritu Singh. These are the top headlines from the startup space.
One of the darkest times for us and has a very deep implication, and we are in a hole, but we're in the hole with an amazing team of people.
Dream11 founder and CEO Harsh Jain says the company will not legally challenge the new law banning real money games, also promises not to lay off employees, hopes to pivot to a free-to-play model driven by advertisements and sponsorships, also plans to launch global products. That's an exclusive.
Harajuku Tokyo Cafe, an authentic Japanese casual dining and QSR chain, has raised 19 crore rupees in its first institutional funding round from Samved VC, Let's Venture and Capital Ventures to support its aggressive expansion plans. The company is targeting 90 outlets across 20 cities and over 200 crore rupees in revenue by 2027.
Hexafun, a sustainability-driven lifestyle accessories brand, has secured 4.5 crore rupees in seed funding from early-stage investor Prajay Advisors. The proceeds will be used to expand its retail presence, strengthen marketing efforts and launch new product lines.
Paytm's parent company 197 Communications will invest up to 455 crore rupees in two of its wholly owned subsidiaries, Paytm Money and Paytm Services. 197 Communications will subscribe to a rights issue of equity shares for 300 crore rupees in Paytm Money and 155 crore rupees in Paytm Services. The company expects to complete the cash transactions within 30 days.
Elon Musk files a lawsuit against Apple and ChatGPT maker OpenAI, accusing both companies of joining hands illegally to stifle competition. Musk takes aim at Apple's decision to integrate ChatGPT into its smartphones through an exclusive arrangement. Well, those were the headlines we've been tracking for you this evening on What's Brewing Today. Fintech startup Kiwi, that claims it pioneered the concept of credit on UPI in India, has raised $24 million in its Series B funding round, led by Vertex Ventures, Southeast Asia and India. In 2 years of operations, Kiwi has issued over 2 lakh RuPay credit cards, processes more than 5 million transactions every month, and the company says this fresh capital will power product innovation, sharpen unit economics, and help it scale to 1 million cards by 2027. Joining us now to talk about Kiwi's growth story and the future of credit on UPI is Anup Agarwal, co-founder and CEO of Kiwi. Anup, welcome to Startup Street. Now, with the fresh funds raised, you're planning to roll out EMI on UPI and add-ons for credit cards. If you could elaborate on what's next on the product roadmap and how do you see Kiwi's rewards program evolving?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on CNBC. Two questions. I think the product roadmap for us stems from customer demand. I think as we see today, most of the consumers are using credit card and UPI as a two-payment instrument. And what we are trying to solve for a consumer is to completely shift their behavior on UPI credit card. So do away with completely a physical credit card, which is there on their wallet. So that is what the first product line which we launched, and we are seeing tremendous amount of demand in that particular segment. The second area which we think is going to be which will see exponential growth is credit line on UPI. Basically, consumers who don't have a credit card will migrate to a credit line on a UPI product, which is basically they will have a line from the bank, which they will use for emergency or basically discretionary purchases into EMI. We are very bullish on that particular product line, because the consumer demand is very, very high for that segment, because they don't have a credit card and their demand is basically to use their credit line for discretionary purchases. So that's where we are very, very bullish on. Yeah, so then we are going to invest in that particular category of...
Okay. You know, Anup, you've set yourself a target of issuing 1 million RuPay cards by 2027. What gives you the confidence to hit that milestone, and what's the playbook to get there?
I think the confidence is because the market is so large and it is so underpenetrated. And we believe that the gap is primarily the education. Consumers today just don't know that they can transfer their UPI savings account transactions to a credit card. Just the education itself can drive insane amount of growth for us. And that's what we believe will be our growth trajectory coming from.
All right. So let's talk about the fundraise. Apart from accelerating the product growth journey, Anup, you also plan to strengthen unit economics. Now, what does that mean for Kiwi in practice? If you could share the current business growth numbers and how close you are to turning profitable.
So we have set ourselves a target of 2 years to turn profitable.
Okay.
Strengthen unit economics. I think the day we started our company, we were very clear that we want to have a very clear unit economics. And that is one of the reasons we chose credit card, which is a very healthy unit economics. Basically, ensuring that we are getting the maximum wallet share of the consumer on Kiwi through the cards which we have issued on our platform. That is something which we are focusing on very, very closely. We become the choice for all the transactions which are converted into an EMI, basically making our product so convenient for the user that we become the go-to product for all their credit needs. So those are the two focus areas for us as we
Okay.
strengthen our economics.
You already have partnerships with Yes Bank and AU Bank, and I believe you plan to onboard 2 more large banking partners within this financial year. Anup, what can you tell us on this front, and how critical are these banking partnerships in scaling your credit on UPI proposition? And with more players now entering this category, what will differentiate Kiwi in a competitive landscape?
Very good question. So look, ultimately, RBI is very clear that the credit line on UPI or credit card on UPI can only be issued by banks. And hence, banking partners are very, very critical for our success and for our growth. So having multiple banking partners allow for both. So banking partnership is key for our success. So that is something we will continue to focus on. As you rightly said, the TAM is very, very large. The market is very, very large for UPI today. On UPI, 22 lakh crores are spent every month. And we believe that UPI credit on UPI will see about 2 lakh of spends in the next 3 years, which is currently hovering at about 20,000 crores, so 10x growth. So there will be a lot of players who will be eyeing to get into this particular space. I think Kiwi is poised with this right brand positioning in consumers' mind for the right experience. And we are focusing primarily on this particular category itself. And this three will help us win in this particular segment.
All right. Picking up from what you just mentioned, India has 350 million UPI users, but only a fraction use credit cards. You spoke about the opportunity, but how big an opportunity does this gap represent for Kiwi? And also, do you see credit on UPI eventually overtaking traditional credit cards in India, given the sheer size of UPI's acceptance network?
Very good question again. So 350 million, which is 35 crore consumers are using UPI. Credit card consumers are about 4 crores. If you look at unsecured lending, is given to about 12 crore consumers. So if you look at a difference, about 8 crore consumers don't have credit card but has a good credit history. We believe that a large portion of these consumers will eventually move to credit line on UPI or a credit card product in the next foreseeable future of 3 to 4 years. And that's where the opportunity is. So whether credit line will become larger than credit card, it's we'll see it in the future. I don't have any comments on that, but we believe credit line on UPI will become very, very large in the near future.
But at the same time, Anup, there are growing concerns around credit discipline in a market where millions are new to credit. So how is Kiwi building safeguards into the product, and what are you seeing on NPS so far?
So on the credit side, we partner with banks and the credit is underwritten by the banks. And banks have shown traditionally has been very, very prudent around discipline, around leverage, not lending to leveraged clients. They are highly prudent about making sure they are not over leveraging the customer. So we don't control the credit policy, which is the bank's prerogative in our case. But we have seen very low NPAs in our case so far. And I think this is something which is closely monitored by bank. So I think we are in good space there.
All right. You've said you want Kiwi to be the go-to platform for credit on UPI. So paint us a picture. What does success look like for you over the next 3 to 5 years in terms of revenue growth? And also give us a sneak peek of the product pipeline in the near-term future.
Awesome. So for us, there are many ways to looking at success. From a business perspective, I think if we have a 10% market share in the next 3 to 4 years as key UPI credit on UPI grows, a 10 to 15% market share will be a win for us. And on the product line, we are launching, obviously, we already have a credit card on UPI, credit line on UPI will come, and we will deepen our credit card product roadmap and rewards roadmap for our existing customers so that it feels much more rewarding to be at Kiwi with UPI credit.
All right. On that note, it's time for me to wrap up this conversation. Many thanks, Anu, for joining us on Startup Street today, and wish you the very best for all your growth plans.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.